All right, welcome back to Good Morning Vail. Peter Suneson is with me now from Walking Mountain Science Center, located right in Avon here. Good morning, Peter.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in, buddy. Good to see you today.
Good to see you.
Tell us, I know you're all fired up to talk about it. How you get this way. I'm going to let you just go. Tell us about hummingbirds.
So, you know, I've been out walking the dog. We've been out spending time on the bike paths here in town, and we're hearing that zip, zip, zip of the hummingbirds, that trill go, you know, from plant to plant, kind of that background noise this time of year, that really high-pitched trill is what we call it. And so I thought, you know, let's talk about what's making that noise, and that is the hummingbird.
Sounds a little bit like the Jetsons. Do you remember the Jetsons?
I do, just barely. Almost before my time.
You might want to pull that up. Be a cool ringtone to have on your phone,
Absolutely.
too, I think.
Yep. And so that trill is actually the wingtips, you know, and you were talking, you know, 50 beats per minute.
Per second?
Per second, excuse me.
How crazy fast is that?
Really fast. It would, you know, if you're drinking sugar water all day, all night, your heart's going to be, your arms might be able to move that fast as well. But that trill is their wingtips, you know, fluttering so fast that it actually picks up that noise and generates that sound.
Look at how beautiful these little birds are. Really, they truly are just precious.
So that is, he's got a broadtail up on the screen now. Very similar looking to a ruby-throated hummingbird. You know, it's got that bright red, and what they actually call that is a gorget or a gorget. And that is from that's that coloring right under the chin. And that is from the old kind of the knights in shining armor. They used to have that protective silver lining around their throat to keep them safe.
Okay.
And so that is a gorget. Those are the broadtail, and then this is a rufous hummingbird. It's a little bit smaller. It's kind of the color of a bright, shiny penny. And they are a little bit smaller, really feisty. And what's really neat about them, they make a 12,000 mile round trip every year, every season.
So do they migrate? Do they go? Where do they all head in the wintertime?
They do. So the rufous hummingbirds, actually, it's really neat. They head up the west coast. So we are actually not seeing the rufous hummingbirds right now. They head up the west coast, kind of the Sierra Nevadas, up the California coast. They'll spend the summer in the Pacific Northwest, and then they actually come down the Rocky Mountain corridor. So they do a huge loop up to Alaska, Pacific Northwest, and then down the Rocky Mountains back to Mexico and Central America.
Wouldn't it be neat if we could like mount a little mini GoPro on a hummingbird for an adventure?
it would be fast. I mean, hopefully it could pick it up.
They could hold it up. So we have a couple little hummingbirds right here. Oh my God, they honestly are beautiful. Let's take a close look at these little fellas right here. If I had a third one, they could be the three amigos. But here's two little hummingbirds. Now these all have the greenbacks on them. Are these like the Colorado state trout? These are the greenback hummingbirds?
So these are both broadtails, but what you'll notice is that they do not have that bright pink gorget or that throat covering.
Okay.
So what that tells us is that these are either females or they are juvenile. And if you can see that one kind of over here is a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
So my guess is that was probably a juvenile. The hummingbird, and to the left, a little bit bigger, probably a female. And the females, as in most bird species, most animal species, the females are a little bit more muted color.
Right.
The males have that bright, flashy coloring to attract the
Now,
females.
so you found these up around Walking Mountains. What is it? Do they have sicknesses? I mean, what's the lifespan of a hummingbird?
So the oldest recorded broadtail that they ever found was 12 years old, and that was actually in Colorado. They did a banding survey, so they had banded one. 12 years later, they caught it and banded it again. We have these generally, for the most part, because of window hits. A lot of people put their feeders up very close to glass windows. That confuses a hummingbird, and you get that window hit.
And they come into it probably really fast.
Really, yeah, they come in real hot.
People like to keep their windows really clean too, so it's deceiving for those poor little hummingbirds.
Absolutely. So, you know, our recommendation, you know, this is the time to put out your hummingbird feeders. We are, you know, recommending people that live on ground level or have, you know, backyards that back up to a creek or where bears might be traveling through this time of year. Maybe wait another week or two before putting your hummingbird feeders out, because that sugar water is a great food source for bears. But if you have a balcony or an apartment, you know, on second or third level, put out the hummingbird feeders. You'll get them. Put them a little bit away from your clean glass windows.
That's a good idea. Or just don't clean your glass.
Or just don't clean your glass. Exactly. But you know, you get they make those UV bird reflectors that you can put on your window as well.
Peter, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Good to see you. That's good information about the hummingbirds. We're going to be right back with more of our show. We're going to close it up and then get out there and enjoy your day. We'll be right back.